Welcome, Mr. Friedman. Congratulations on your nomination.
Thank you.
I think sometimes there's a presumption that America knows best, is in charge of everything, and that we're going to tell everybody the way things are going to be. And I think it sort of ignores the sovereignty of other nations and the opinions of other nations, frankly, particularly in the peace process, that we've decided what the peace process is since 1947, and it doesn't look like there's peace yet, so maybe there ought to be some other thoughts. I'm not here to say what the best peace process is, but I would say that maybe sometimes we need to take a step back and realize that any kind of peace process is going to have to take agreement from both sides, and that what both sides of the conflict think is probably more important than us. Doesn't mean we shouldn't have any role, but I don't think we should be so presumptuous as that we're going to dictate the role. The same would apply somewhat to settlements. So we can all have our own opinion. I know you have your opinion on settlements, but it's also not our country, and we don't live there. And it's not saying it's not a problem. I'm just saying that I'm not so sure the United States should dictate this. That being said, I think that we ought to be aware of the ramifications of policy, and we can voice our opinions on these. And I think yours have been very strong that, in favor of settlement. My question is that, and this has come up recently with the press conference, President Trump has actually sort of voiced, some hesitancy to the 5,400 new units in the West Bank. And while I'm not here to say what my opinion is or what the government should tell Israel what to do, I would say that we ought to account for and think about what 5,400 new settlements in the West Bank do to the possibility of peace. Are you open to thinking about what the ramifications are and that there's another side to the settlement issue other than just saying, hey, we should build everywhere all the time?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I think that's the open-mindedness that people want to hear and want to know is, are you open-minded enough to know there's another position and that there are ramifications and that you'll listen? I think sometimes, particularly in our country, we think everybody thinks alike in Israel. We have no idea what goes on. If anything, they have more diversity of opinion and thought than we do on issues of Israel, I would say. And we need to understand that. And your job as ambassador is to understand, that maybe a third of the population of Israel, maybe 40%, I don't know the number, but a significant number don't want new settlements in the West Bank either. But I think your job will be to report that to the president and to let him know the different viewpoints within Israel. What are the ramifications of new settlement, even if we don't get a say? Now, the capital's a little bit different. Israel gets to decide the capital of their country, but as you and I discussed, I think, we've talked about moving into Jerusalem. No one else has an embassy there, right?
Correct.
There will be ramifications if we move it. What I want to know is, are you a thoughtful individual? Will you think about the ramifications? Will we think to ourselves long and hard that if we do move our embassy there and 1,000 Israeli soldiers die because of it, or somehow Americans are caught up in it, that will it have been something that was worth our while if we do it for the symbolism of it, if people die because of it? And will you think through the ramifications of that and advise the president that there's more than one side to the issue?
Yes, Senator. The decision obviously will be made by the president, and I'm confident he will, and I would support him considering all of the political, security, and other ramifications associated.
I don't put myself out as an expert or someone who has an answer to the Middle East piece. I wish I did. But having traveled there once, I have an opinion like everyone else. And my opinion basically is it is elusive, and I think I'm fairly justified in that. But I would say that I came back from Israel thinking that our best hope is incremental change. And I think it's an equation where Israel does hold most of the cards and most of the power. They have an unparalleled military, and I don't think things are going to change militarily. These are the facts on the ground. So I would say that there is chance for improvement, but it's going to be incremental. And my advice would be to meet with Palestinian businessmen, and women, listen to them and say, gosh, if this is a way that we can lessen tension and hostility between the groups, why don't we see if there is a way that Palestinians can make more money, that trade can be enhanced? There's all kinds of things that are not the ultimate, in final agreement, which is elusive, that we could do. And I want to know that you're open-minded to saying, you know what, we're less likely to have war the more we trade, the more we have interaction. Are you open-minded enough to hear the other side from the Palestinians on what we could do to enhance and lessen hostility?
Senator, I would be excited to have those discussions.
Okay. And I think some of that could be done here. I don't know, there is some of that here, between the different parties. Some of that can be done over there. But I think it's important that you project to them that you are open-minded on these things, because you have had, and I have strong opinions too. So, I mean, the thing is, having strong opinions isn't always a fault. But I would say that you have to show people that you're open-minded enough to be a diplomat, which means hearing from, talking to both parties, and understanding the complexity and the ramifications of every little policy that happens over there.
I will, Senator. Thank you.
Thank you.
We will make America great again.